Welcome back inside the Gamecocks, the morning show powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston. electricbikescharleston.com. I do. Before we get John in here, I need to share something. This was sent to me last night. I meant to do it last night and I didn't, but I just retweeted it. If anybody follows me on Twitter, there's a guy. Some of you may know this name, Mike. I know you'll know this name certainly. Many of you may not, but his name's Tim Wallace. He's been the longtime head coach at Spartanburg Methodist, and that's who I originally committed to out of high school. And at that point in time, SMC was the best junior college in the country, where they sent a boatload of South Carolina baseball players over the years. Coach Wallace, I lived with Jacob at South Carolina for a little while as well. His son, and Mike, you remember Jacob Wallace, who was a catcher, and Coach is really battling. He has been diagnosed with brain cancer, and it's not good. And so I have retweeted this, and if any of you follow me on Twitter and you don't mind maybe retweeting it, if you have some cash, $10, $20, whatever it is that you can donate to his family as they try to battle through this and save his life, it would be greatly appreciated. Coach Wallace has impacted every corner of the state in the sport of baseball. He's developed all kinds of guys. Like I said, many of them went on to play at South Carolina and other places, but he's done a lot for a lot of people. And it would be really, it'd be awesome if any of you have anything that you could do. I was just looking a little while ago, some names that are familiar to a lot of people. Garris Gauntz and David Marchbanks and Tim Seaton and others have contributed to this. If anybody remembers those names from South Carolina, but we'll be thinking big time about Coach Wallace as he goes through this battle. And we got a big voice here, so we want to make sure that we share that. And if you don't mind, please retweet it. Monty retweeted it. I've retweeted it. A bunch of people have. Coach Wallace is very tough, but he is a good guy, and so we'll be thinking about him, no doubt. John, it is good to see you, man. It is it's time for fall, John. The spring games, based on what I saw this weekend, I think I've got the depth chart down. So let's talk about it. Third string, O-line. All right, left to right. Here we go. I'm just kidding. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Had a good long Easter weekend. I had Good Friday off, so enjoyed Mike and Coach Tanner on the calls this weekend.
Oh, thanks, man.
So, yeah, watched the game here with a few pours of bourbon on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then, Friday, watched the game at the condo and then walked into the stadium for the spring game. And then Saturday, laid at the pool and watched the game on Saturday, which the game on Saturday wasn't a fun one. But all in all, though, winning a series versus a very good Ole Miss team was made it a fun weekend. And then, spring game was fun. We stayed not quite the whole thing. We actually came back over to the condo, and Brewer's condo is right beside mine. So we all sat out here and watched the fireworks from the backyard of the condo.
That was the one good thing that they did well as far as
I agree. I'll tell you what, they underestimated Gamecock Nation because me and Brewer, we got there right when it was getting ready to start, and there was nowhere to sit. They had everywhere else closed. They weren't letting anybody go to the upper deck or the other side, and so they need to do a little bit better job on that side as far as the whoever was in charge of that part. They underestimated Gamecock Nation having that many people show up on a Friday night. I can tell you that.
I addressed some of that yesterday, John, and the lack of stuff pregame in Gamecock Park. It was pretty poor, to be honest with you. I mean, I had my daughter there, which is why you didn't see me. She was kind of just wanting to chill, and we just sat there with Blake and Casey Cooper and their kids, and I was just shocked that they had nothing in Gamecock Park. I mean, last year you had the Lindsay's. They were out there with their barbecue bus, and you had the baseball game on and jump castles. There was nothing there. I thought it was pretty embarrassing, to be quite frank.
Yeah, I was a little shocked by some of that stuff, and I was shocked they just didn't open the whole lower bowl like we've done in years past. And
I know.
I don't know. It was crazy. I mean, there was so many people at the start of spring games still in the aisles of the West Lower that couldn't find a seat anywhere.
Yeah, just standing there, and then they're
Yep.
told to go to the South and told to go to the Upper, and I'm like, well, okay, now it's the
Well,
second
they
quarter.
didn't open the Upper until halfway through the first quarter, and all these people were trying to get up there, and the security guards were saying no. And I don't know. They way underprepared. So not a great job, but all in all, it was a great weekend.
Yeah, it was. Look, I you know, Mike's already heard this spiel. I don't. There's nothing that I take away from the game at all.
I'll get into that. But
there's nothing. There's nothing.
No.
I mean, I pick. I look at I look at guys like individually, like how developed are, especially some of the young guys. How developed are they? What speed are they kind of running at out there? Are they deer in the headlights and stuff like that? And there's a few things here and there. Obviously, I thought Cutter Woods kind of looks the part for being a true freshman quarterback, and love the wide receivers and things like that. But John, that's. You've played in many of these, unlike our friend Steven Garcia. You were always eligible to play in them, but it's a little bit of a different era from back then. Back then, y'all were going to go out there and bang heads under Coach Holtz and figure some things out, and this is a recruiting tool weekend, in my opinion, for Shane Beamer and his coaching staff.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even back when I played, the guys you knew were going to start, we did get a little more reps, but we didn't get a ton of the reps. It's a good thing to get a lot of young people in here, and I think I said it on here last week. You're not going to get much from the spring game, but the one thing that I was looking forward to is to see what some of these young wide receivers would do, and to me, that group of all those freshman wide receivers is what stood out the most at the spring game. That was my big takeaway from it. So, and that's obviously a position where we've needed some depth here over the past year or so. So, a lot of these guys, those high 4-star rankings they have, they definitely look the part.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Since the spring game, I'm sure everybody's already heard about it, but in case they missed it, Cam Pringle has entered the transfer portal, and I expect to hear a couple of guys go into the portal as well. I think they're at 83 scholarships right now, so they'll hit the portal for a couple of guys to replace them. As an offensive lineman, it's very hard. We haven't seen a lot of Cam Pringle. He's a big-time prospect from down here.
Yeah, but he's only been here 1 year.
He's been here for 1 year.
Well, he's a true freshman still right now in this spring. So that's when I was shocked, because I just talked to Cam 2 weeks ago when I was out of practice. Had a good conversation with him, and a little shocked about that. I don't know if somebody got in his ear or whatever. Somebody said, you're not playing. You're on the, second, third team depth chart. Maybe you should go somewhere else. Listen, offensive lineman, man, Josiah Thompson, the Travell Whartons, there's few and far between that you're starting as a freshman. It's few and far between. Listen, I redshirted. I was a backup my redshirt sophomore, my redshirt freshman and redshirt sophomore year. I played a lot, but I wasn't starting. But you just wait your time, and then I was the starter my junior and senior year. That's kind of how it works for offensive linemen most of the time. So I'm a little shocked that after literally one season of being a true freshman straight out of high school, you want to transfer. So I don't know. Very, very, very strange situation, in my opinion. Which, Cam is an awesome person, super nice guy. I don't think it was a good decision for him, but to each of their own. And like I always say, the grass is not always greener. Most of the time it's not.
Well, as you know, this is everywhere in college football. These guys, I'll be interested to see where he lands. I'm sure everybody's going to want him. He's enormous.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, teams are going to want him, but, sometimes it just takes other guys longer to develop. Trust me, if he was a stud and ready to play, he'd probably be the starting right tackle right now. But unfortunately, I mean, the coaches know. I mean, you're either there or you're not. I mean, I know, as a player, especially a young guy, you get this thing in your head thinking, oh man, I'm better than this and whatever. And sometimes you just got to trust in the process and roll with it. And unfortunately, in today's age, We're seeing a lot of that happen. We're seeing guys transfer and we don't hear from them again, or maybe you hear from them in 2 or 3 years. So I don't know. At the offensive line position, it's it's the hardest position to come in and play, especially in the SEC. So I don't know.
Strick, do you think there's a chance? Because we don't know. I mean, where he goes, he might be a backup there too. But do you think there's a chance?
He probably will be.
Right. So, like a lot of these cases, it's less about being unhappy where you are and more about somebody offered me an extra $50,000, whatever. Is it just a money deal?
For him, I doubt it's a money deal.
Really?
I think either him or somebody close to him thinks he's ready to play, and unfortunately,
In the SEC.
he's not. Yeah, and unfortunately, he's not gonna start at tackle over the other guys we have. He's just not.
I mean,
I've seen it. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. All right, I've been out to practice. He's just not quite ready. I mean, and you know what? It's not going to happen, so we're just wasting time on it. But him another year in the program to develop and get stronger probably would have done him some good. But I guess he's going to go do that elsewhere because unless he goes somewhere where they just are decimated with offensive linemen, I don't foresee him going somewhere and starting this next year.
I mean, as aside from the player, when talking about the actual football team here at South Carolina, I mean, it's never a good. I'm not saying it's a good thing that you're losing an incredibly talented kid like he was. I mean, he was a huge piece of that class just a couple of classes ago, figuratively and literally. But does that tell you anything? I think you just alluded to it a little bit. What does it tell you about the group that they have here, though?
I think the group is very solid. You got a lot of good young players with a few veteran guys sprinkled in there. I think I don't want to speak too soon because I haven't seen the full offensive starting line that I think we'll see come the first game. Haven't seen them all play together. When I was out at practice the other week, all of them weren't out there together. So, but I think it's got a chance to be a really good group. A lot of talented guys on there. So I'm excited for them.
I had a chance to see them up close and personal the other day. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, this is the eye test. We got a long ways to go. They got to go out there and play as a unit, right, John? But when it comes to the eyeball test, they got a group that looks like they belong in the SEC. And I do think there's something to that at that position specifically, at least.
Well, in the spring game, you didn't see our 2 projected starting tackles playing in the game. You saw mix match guys all over the place because it was a draft style. So that's why I always say you can't take too much from the spring game. But do they look the part? Yes, they look the part. I mean, I was standing on the field, had a quick 2-minute talk with the whole offensive line after practice. So just giving them my experiences and stuff that I've been through because I've been in their shoes. But yeah, it's a good looking group of dudes.
That's it. Playoffs, South Carolina. Put this into my bracket here.
11-1 SEC champions. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Title game versus Texas. Got it. Sellers. I mentioned to Mike yesterday, I think that this is important, John, on the topic of Cutter Woods. I mean, he has gotten a lot of run this spring. And generally when y'all correct me if I'm wrong here, but generally when you hear, I'm going to say the word sources, but it goes beyond it. People you trust in general who do get their eyeballs on things at different times. So, if Mike goes out and sees it and John goes out and sees it and I go out and see it and 2 or 3 other people go out and see it at different times and you kind of all mention the same thing or kind of come to the same conclusion, I generally feel like there's some juice there. And that's one of the things that with Cutter Woods, it was like, well, let's see how this kind of adds up, right? Because we got the initial reports of, oh man, he looks really good, and yada. And I think people in their minds were trying to shuffle through, what is this quarterback thing going to look like? Sellers, and then maybe it's not Nolan. Maybe it's. I don't think they know who 2 and 3 are. Maybe they have a hunch, but I don't think they know. But I will say this: in watching him the other day, I felt like the game, regardless of the fact that it was a spring game and it's just a mixture of drafted talent onto these 2 teams out there. I felt like having number one, he's good, but number two in-state guys that South Carolina has recruited, and Lenore Sellers, who was very under-recruited, right? I think we can all agree on that. He was going to, where was he going? Syracuse?
Going to Syracuse, and he got bumped up to a 4-star, like literally the last month of his recruiting. Like he was 2-3-star early in his time, and then the last month, once everybody started seeing, oh wow, he got bumped up to a 4-star. So yeah, he was very underrated and recruited.
And you could argue the same thing with Cutter Woods, right? I mean,
yeah,
South Carolina beat a couple of Tobacco Road
Wake
schools
Forest.
for him. Yeah,
Wake Forest. He's basically a 3-star kid,
right? And they're right here within our borders. I can't remember the last time that's ever actually happened with 2 very talented quarterbacks from this state on this roster. I don't even know if it has ever happened, has it? And then B, I think it says a lot about this program, to be quite frank, and the fact that these other schools on the outside aren't coming in and getting them, and they're coming here and they're developing pretty quickly. I think that says a lot for Dow Loggins, for Shane Beamer. I think it says a lot for Mike Shula.
Yeah, no, I watch a lot of Cutter's high school tape, and just from coaches I know around the state, all of them have praise for him. So the kid's got a nice arm, and he can run too. So don't underestimate. He's got some legs on him too. So he was the biggest surprise to me though in the spring game.
Okay.
You know, they don't have the who's going to be all the backup, who would come in if God forbid something, happened to Lenore's like the LSU game last year. I don't think they have that nailed down. I really think there's 3 or 4 guys that are all vying for that position. I told y'all a few weeks ago when I was on here that when I was out there, Luke had been working quarterback play. And sure enough, we did see a lot of him, and Luke made some really good plays out there, some good decision making. And he's an old guy, so he should know, kind of what to do with his decision making. So, but yeah, I don't think they have a clue who the backup would be if we had to go play tomorrow and somebody else had to come in.
Guys, what do y'all think about that? I've been waiting to kind of press that question on anybody until the spring got done and the dust settles a little bit on this. But I mean, Luke Doty has been around since right around when you got here, John. I mean, he's been around a long time, and he's done everything. I mean, he's done anything he's been asked to do. He's been offered to go other places, and he has turned all of them down. He said he wanted to stay here at South Carolina. He wanted to be a Gamecock. He loves Columbia, the whole 9 yards. Put me back there to return kicks. Put me at wide receiver. Put wherever you want. Do y'all believe that there's a real role for Luke Doty at the quarterback position? I think it's a little, it's not shocking, but I don't think it's something we expected coming into the spring that he would be the starter for the other team in the spring game at QB.
I mean, listen, he started a lot of games at quarterback here early in his career. And he's an older veteran guy, somebody you trust to go in and make the right decision. So I wouldn't be shocked if he is the number 2 going into the season. I wouldn't be shocked, but I think the quarterback competition, between Luke, Cutter, Air, and Reno, I've heard it's been pretty strong. So that's why I don't think we still could definitely say, all right, if something happened to Lenore's, who would go in the game? I think it's up in the air just because the competition has been so good between those other 4 guys behind Lenore's.
If nothing
and that's
else,
a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Competition's always a good thing. It means you actually got more than one person worth a damn. I think if nothing else, Doty could serve the role, kind of what Ashford did when he came in the LSU game. Like, he's not throwing a bunch, especially downfield, but he can run his what off and make some plays and spell sellers until you're ready to get Lenoris back in there. And
Yep.
he like to your point, John, he's not going to go out there in front of 90,000 fans, wherever he might be, and just urinate all over himself because he's been there. He's a veteran. Whereas
Plenty
these
of
other
time.
guys, a spring game is one thing. Going out, like if it's a road game and let's say you're at LSU this time around and Lenoris sprains his ankle in the second quarter, I don't know if you want one of those raw guys out there to come in.
Yeah, no, I definitely would feel comfortable with Luke. I mean, Luke's been there. He's done it. He's been on the road, started at quarterback in the SEC, won games as the quarterback in the SEC. Who knows? We'll see how the summer works out and then the fall camp. But I don't know. I think it's been a pretty healthy competition for that backup role at quarterback.
I'm fascinated by that. Mike, can you? I mean, you've covered every team in this league. You've called a game in every ballpark. I can't remember ever seeing anything like this. I mean, you could argue like Randall Cobb a little bit up at Kentucky when they put him in at quarterback and stuff. But I mean, Luke was a quarterback like 4 seasons ago, and they got moved, and now 4 years later, he's playing quarterback again.
No, sometimes it's the other way around. Like I go back, you'll remember this name, Strick, Hines Ward, who was an uber talented wide receiver, and Georgia had a bunch of injuries at quarterback, so he had to play quarterback, right?
I was at a game. I was at a Georgia football game back in the 90s when I was a teenager, and Eric Zier, I think, was hurt, and
Right.
Hines Ward played the whole game at quarterback, and he threw it a little, but it was mostly
run,
wildcat type,
Yep.
because Hines Ward was just amazing.
A freakish athlete. So he did it the other way. We're talking about, in the case of Doty, going from being a quarterback, and then he played wide receiver, and now he's moving back to quarterback, and he's been a returner, and yeah, he's a Swiss Army knife that it's nice to have on your roster because, like you said, Jamie, he certainly could have transferred to a smaller school and played a much more significant role.
He could have gone to Coastal easily. I mean, I think it does. Mike, you made this point yesterday, and John just made it. I mean, I also think that it tells you a lot about your wide receivers. I mean, while they do have a bunch of young guys in the room, again, Luke Doty's a 6-year dude, and I'm not so sure he was going to see the field with this group. I think they're really, really talented, and that's not a knock on Luke. I'm not knocking Luke Doty at all.
Mm-hmm.
Giving credit to the other guys. I don't know. Let's go back, John, to when you were playing at South Carolina. Is there a team in the SEC that has taken more athletes and made them quarterbacks? You talk about Luke and Savell and Dondrell and Corey. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. I mean,
I would say those are the ones. But Dondrell coming out of high school, he was rated as one of the top 8 to 10 quarterbacks in the country. And unfortunately for Dondrell, man, he just got injured so much. And just even our senior year, he goes into starting the season, and then we're on the goal line versus Georgia. And it's 4th and 1 to win the game. And we run a naked bootleg, and Greg Blue for Georgia lights Dondrell up, and we wound up losing 20-16. And Dondrell got hurt on that play, and Dondrell played sparingly the rest of the year. His senior year, I mean, he would try and go out, but man, he was just so banged up the entire season. So guess what? We went to Savell Newton, athletic quarterback, and Savell made some great plays. I mean, I even go back to the Alabama game when we played at Alabama. They could not stop us running the ball. We just basically just lined up and told them we were running it, and we just kicked their ass everywhere. And Savell made some big-time runs in that game from the quarterback position. So, go ahead.
No, I'm letting you finish. That was the quietest Bryant Denny Stadium I'd ever heard in my life.
100%.
You
It
could,
was,
you,
yeah.
could hear
I thought
everything.
nobody was in the stands come the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
It was
you
so
could,
quiet.
you could hear people tailgating outside of that ballpark. I mean, y'all just shut them down
We
from
did.
the first quarter on. It was crazy. Yeah, Joyner, all these
Yep.
athletes that have played quarterback at South Carolina, been crazy.
Well, Luke's a hell of an athlete. He's got wheels on him too. So, I think him and Lenore's play style is kind of similar. If you go back and watch back when Luke was a starting quarterback, you would design some runs for Luke to run the ball because Luke's that kind of athlete.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. We'll see how it pans out here come fall.
I called the game that he started against Missouri. I think it was right after Muschamp got fired. So we're meeting with Mike Bobo in the Friday meetings, and that was weird because Bobo, you could tell he was just unhappy about virtually everything. And my guess, he already knew he wasn't going to stay around, but he was the interim. So he's talking about Doty starting a quarterback in an SEC game. And then what's his name? I asked him, the kid whose brother unfortunately committed
Ryan
suicide. Helinski. And I'll never forget, because that was the big question. Where's Helinski? Where's Helinski? And I asked Bobo, what is going on with Helinski? And you could tell he was almost kind of taken back by it. Not that I asked it, but that the fans were calling for him. He's like, that kid can't play at this level, period. Next question. Like that's just where Bobo was on that for whatever it's worth. And of course, now Georgia fans want to fire Bobo. So some things never change, as you know.
That poor guy. Every year, somebody wants him fired.
Georgia fans just hating on Mike Bobo is a tradition unlike any other, and it's like the Masters and Georgia fans fire Mike Bobo.
That
Yeah.
Bobo. Bobo's the head coach at Colorado State, right? Yeah. Well,
fire him
anyway. We don't ever want him back. He was a hero 2 years ago.
He was.
But his stock never stays high in Athens. It has peaks and a lot of valleys.
Yeah.
And this year, if they don't produce with Gunnar Stockton, the rampage to fire Mike Bobo will be white hot.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll see how that goes with Gunnar. I've heard not so great early in his career at Georgia, but we'll this year is his year to start, so we'll see what he's about.
John, I mentioned, clearly a lot of the things that happened in the spring game. Again, it was a draft of a bunch of dudes who are not going to actually play together, and how meaningless all of it is. The one thing, I texted JC this the other day. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the one thing that was totally undersold by anybody that covered this deal was the kicking competition.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a brilliant move by Beamer to do that and put all that pressure on those guys. And if you want to get a takeaway from anything, here's a takeaway for you. I'm not so sure that the punter and the kicker aren't the same guy this season. I mean, Mason Love has got the leg for both. There is no question about it.
I'll tell you this. The one field goal he kicked, because he went last, and he boomed it, and you could just see the difference in the 100%. Distance and loft and everything on the ball. It was the best looking kick out of the other two guys. No offense against them, but just was.
It was good from 40, would have easily been good from 50, and I can make the argument it might have been good from 60.
55, yeah.
I mean, it was hammered.
Yeah, he hammered the hell out of it.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
See, we got to get in front of this, Mike, Mad Dog, and Strick. It's we're only a few months away from the annual special teams meltdown by J.C. Sherbert.
August 21st, baby.
That's right.
It's what I always melt down over special teams, and I was public with it in 2022, and they had about the best special teams in school history. So that's pretty good. And Beamer yesterday at a welcome home event told John Whittle that they're probably not going on a portal kicker. So axe that. on your portal shopping list. And so my guess is that Mason Love will handle everything. And I heard great things about that field goal from not just Jamie, but I heard it was been good from 60.
Oh, he kicked the hell out of it. I just happened to be standing on the ramp at that time in, the student section side, the way they were kicking. So we stood there and watched them do that real quick, and he boomed the hell out of that thing.
I mean, it was tattooed. It went like 5 yards over the net, and the net was pulled all the way up. I mean, it was hammered.
And he's a good punter, too. I mean, he's a scholarship guy. So, I mean, I think that's what you want is for him. When you use a scholarship on any kind of kicker, you want them to play. I think Max Kelly's coming in from Tennessee as a true freshman kicker on scholarship as well. He's just not there yet. So
he's not? Okay.
No.
Well,
I don't know what to expect from him. I don't pay attention to kickers.
I don't either. Yeah.
I just hope they can kick. I don't think about them until 10 days before kickoff, right? So
yeah.
But so that was encouraging. Mason Love has had a really good spring all the way around.
Yeah, like I said on here when I was out there 2 weeks ago, he was bombing punts, literally bombing them. I
mean, he was doing that in their work at the spring game. He was 50, 55 yards easy. I mean, he just put a leg into it. It wasn't even – it's nothing. So we'll see. You never know. All right, John, any parting shots before we let you get back to work?
Nope. It's almost May.
Nope.
Well, I'll say this. It's almost May, so football season is right around the corner.
Oh, come on, man. You haven't been watching the UFL?
Yeah, I watched some. I watched Skip's game the other day. A little bit here and there, but I'm mostly kind of locked into baseball right now, even though hasn't been an ideal season so far. But, hey, let's just go win, one or two more series and sweep. Well, win all of them, but you're going to have to sweep one or two of them because you need to get that 12th to 13th win to even have a chance to get into the postseason. So I was hoping for the sweep this weekend. Man, if they would have got the sweep this past weekend, good Lord, that would have been huge.
Would have helped if SQ was healthy. I will say that. Not to make excuses, but if he started that game, the moment we got word of that, it was probably 2 hours before first pitch. I was like, oh. That's going to change things a little bit.
I know.
By the way,
and it did.
Shout out to Dawn and the ladies over there getting the girl from Mississippi State. I think that was the missing piece this past year was having a true dominant big, and I think we got one. So I'm excited. I think that was the missing piece for this women's basketball team. So I thought that was a huge pickup for Dawn.
She's 6'6", I think.
She's taller than I am, which is weird.
That's very weird. John, give us a bourbon of the week. Bourbon of the week from John Strickland.
All
right, listen carefully, Mike.
The Jack Daniels.
Oh, I always do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Good luck finding it, but yeah. That's the one. That's probably my favorite one right now that I've gotten here over the past month. It just released about a month ago. It's hard to get. They only made 22,000 bottles of it for the entire world.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did some blends on it.
You can get one, but you're going to have to pay $500 or $600 for it versus the $140 I paid retail.
Well, if you got anything that you're not planning to drink, take it down to the Marriott on Assembly. John and I, or Mike and I sat there. Well, Trace, we don't have any of that. How about some Woodford? That's gone.
Yeah.
What do you have?
What do you have, Miss?
Well, you could have walked over. You could have walked over to Hall's or Bourbon, right around the corner.
I had my daughter.
He had his daughter.
Well, a bar's a bar, right? You had her in a bar there.
Yeah.
So I don't think that matters.
Yeah, I know. But at 9:30 at night, I was.
Have we already said happy birthday to Flint here on the morning show?
I texted him this morning. He hadn't responded, so no, I didn't get him.
He didn't get a public happy birthday. Okay.
Oh, I text Flint and Blake Mitchell last week, asking them a question. both of them are the worst Texans in the world. Haven't heard a word from either one of them.
I can't figure it out. This is what it is.
Where is Blake? Where is he
He's in
now?
Charleston, Mount Pleasant.
Doing what?
He's a general manager of a roof company, I think, right, John?
Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the top dogs of a big shingle roofing company.
Yeah, he's doing well.
Sweet.
Yeah.
His dad has my favorite name of all time. Remember his
What's
dad's
that?
name? Nugget.
Oh yeah. I used to go to Blake's hometown with him a couple of times back in the day.
LaGrange?
When we were in college.
LaGrange.
Oh yeah. Los Grangeles.
I've been there a few times, yeah.
That's right on the
Interesting spot.
border, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, it's close to Alabama. Yep.
Yeah. Carolina signed
It's kind of
another
like
player.
Bainbridge. It's kind of like Bainbridge. Bainbridge is 25 minutes from the Florida line and about 35 minutes from the Alabama line.
Man, you're surrounded by jorts. Crazy.
Speaking of LA, that part of Alabama is definitely LA. Lower Alabama.
Yep.
I used to work with a guy that was from down that way. Yeah, buddy.
Oh, LA. Yeah, I'm from LA. I heard somebody say one time, I'm from LA. You're from Los Angeles? No, lower Alabama, man.
Blew my mind the first time I heard that was in Pensacola. It was like, yeah, man, this is L.A.
Lower Alabama.
What?
Bet you are Panama Red.
Well, it's the only place I got called a Yankee, too. I was like, you do know where I'm from, right?
We don't allow your kind here, Mad Dog.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, okay.
Bangville. Greenville. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. John, it's always good to see you. We'll do it again next week. Hey, final count on the draft. What are you going to stay with for the Gamecocks this week? You staying with 9?
I'm going with the 8 to 9 that I've been saying all along, so I'm sticking with it. I know some people got it at 7, some people got it at 8. I'm going with the 8 or 9. That's and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. All right.
Like I've seen some of these boards that have Josh Simon and some of them don't. I think the ones that don't, I think you're crazy. I think he's a steal in the late draft.
I'm with you on that. I also think they sneak a lineman in there. Everybody references 13 because they had the 7 draft picks that year, right? 2009 also had 7.
Yep.
Can anybody name the 7? Can we, as a group, collectively name the 7?
All right. Eric Norwood, Captain Munnerlin.
Well, Norwood was 2010.
Panthers took Norwood.
My bad on that. 08. So
You got Munnerlin right. He went to the Panthers. They had 3 7th-rounders in 09.
This is 09.
You got Munnerlin.
Oh, I already know. Ryan Suckup.
Ryan was Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Mr. Irrelevant.
There's another 7th-rounder.
Darian Stewart was not drafted. He was an undrafted free agent. And
That's right.
neither was Emmanuel Cook.
Great career.
Yep. E. Cook left early, and Spurrier was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was
Kenny
dumb,
McKinley.
man.
Kenny?
I believe Kenny McKinley was drafted.
All right, so you got Ryan, you got Captain, you got Kenny. There's another member of the secondary that went in the 7th round.
Stoney Woodson.
Stoney Woodson.
Who else?
Somebody who played in one of the big uglies like John.
Who the heck? Oh, Lim Jean-Pierre, was that? Or no, he was an undrafted guy too.
No, one of the nicest, big, mean-looking guys ever, but he's a very nice guy.
Jamon Meredith.
Jamon Meredith.
Yep, Jamon, my old teammate. How about that?
From the same high school Travell Wharton went to. Mm-hmm. Carolina got two-star dudes from Hillcrest Simpsonville.
That get
turned out to
drafted.
be drafted.
Crazy, right?
Right there on I-385 going into Greenville.
That's 5. Y'all are missing 2. Come on, who was the highest draft pick that year?
Who else off that team?
Come on.
Wasn't anybody running back?
It's an easy one. Tight end.
Oh, Jared Cook.
Cook.
Jared Cook.
Little
And
team.
you got one more.
For the D tackle.
No, he played on defense.
Jasper Brinkley. Jasper Brinkley.
Jasper Brinkley.
Yeah, good Lord. Yeah, because
Vikings.
I get confused because Jap got hurt in 07. So he actually was a JUCO with 2 years, but he played 06, got hurt against LSU in 07, redshirted, and played
I
no
stand by this. I stand by this. If Jasper didn't get hurt in that LSU game in 07, that team wins a lot more ball games that year.
Oh, dude.
He was a tackling machine.
And Dustin Lindsay was hurt too. Like Dustin Lindsay took over for Hurley in 05. And he actually didn't play a lot in 06 and was hurt. Came back, couldn't make it back or whatever. You guys probably know the story better than I do. But if Lindsay had returned to form like he was at the end of 05, they'd have had a Mike linebacker. They just didn't. There was no Mike linebacker after that. They had Cliff Matthews playing linebacker that year. Interesting.
Yeah.
As a true freshman. Y'all know who the starting defensive end game 1 in 07 was? This is how far the program's come. We're sitting here sweating about backup offensive tackles leaving the program.
In 07?
In 07, the starting DN was Travian Robertson as a true freshman.
There you go.
And they grew him into a tackle, obviously. So, yeah, that was the Spurrier era that was not full. It was kind of weird because there were a lot of guys that weren't considered big-time recruits that became really good players. But it wasn't like they had a bunch of depth at all. I mean, I remember 09 had Garcia gotten hurt. It was the Reed McCullum show.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so funny. You know, you mentioned Travell, 2-star. He had to take a gray shirt because they didn't have room for him on the roster. So he had to sit out a season and then come on in the spring. You know, lower rated guy, wound up being a great player, one of the best tackles ever played in South Carolina. And then the other guy I played with, who was a 1 or 2-star. Can y'all name him? Safety, electric, safety, ball hawk. Co Simpson.
Oh,
gray shirt. He was a gray shirt.
He was, just like Travell.
2-star guy.
Yeah.
It was you know, that whole time period in South Carolina was interesting. Clemson got Philip Merling was a 2-star. Gaines Adams was a 2-star. Rashad Jackson was a 3-star. Leroy Hill was a 3-star. All of them were ballers at Clemson.
I got to say something about Leroy because me and him worked out together training.
I loved how he played.
He was the best linebacker I played against in my whole career. I'm not joking.
Really?
He was that good.
He was fast, man.
Oh, God.
He
could make you miss your block on him. He was legit. And we used to give each other hell when we worked out together in Atlanta. Yeah, Leroy Hill was a dog.
Dude,
that's crazy.
Yep.
And I played against a lot of good linebackers in my career. He was the best one.
Yeah, that's an understatement, dude. You played against a lot of them.
Yeah.
Shoot. So.
All right, boys. All right. I got to go eat an avocado.
Me too.
Rock on. Good to see everyone.
Mike, thank you for your service. You
enjoyed
three straight days of the Golden Tones here on the morning show.
Wow. Marathon stint.
Very thankful. Very thankful.
Yes. Always good to hear Mike.
Been a pleasure, boys. Looking forward to the next 2. I'll be in my car listening to JC and the Mad Dog.
Oh, there you go.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
The magic of streaming. See you guys.
All right, guys.
All right. Bye, y'all.